Thank you, Hannah. Yes, we're delighted to see you as always. We are back here, and we are delighted to be joined with Stephen A. Smith and Jalen Rose by our teammate Michael Wilbon, who is with us from Scottsdale, Arizona this morning. And Michael, we will spare you from having to talk about your hometown Chicago Bulls, so let's jump to the second game of our doubleheader, and that would be the Warriors, Stephen A., looking for a sweep. And as we watch this team through 3 games of this postseason, do they suddenly look like the best team in the West to you?
Yes, they do. And the reason why they look that way is because the Phoenix Suns don't have Devin Booker. Now, obviously, if Devin Booker was there, I'd say the Suns look like the favorites, but it still wouldn't stop me from picking the Warriors, which I have said from the beginning of the season before Jalen Rose and Mike Wilbon had the audacity, the temerity, the unmitigated gall to oppose. But they are watching Steph Curry. They are watching Klay Thompson. They are watching Jordan Poole. They've heard me nickname them Lethal Weapon 3. Everybody needs to pay attention to what's transpiring within the Western Conference right now. The Warriors are coming.
What do you think, Michael?
I agree with him. By the way, Lethal Weapon 3, did you not borrow that from like a Georgia Tech team in the 1990s?
Yes.
I was going to say, Stephen A., I didn't know you were old enough to remember that team. Brian Oliver,
Dennis Scott, Kenny Anderson.
And
Kenny Anderson.
Oh, that's right, Kenny Anderson.
That's right. That's right.
It's good. I like the fact that you all are old enough to get those references. I was covering the ACC back then. The Golden State Warriors are the best team. They look like the best team in the playoffs right now. The whole playoffs, period. And we're working with a short sample size, 3 games, but that's how they look. Stephen A. ran it down, so I don't need to repeat it. We will see what happens with the Suns when, not if, when Devin Booker comes back, if he's full strength 100%. But right now, the Warriors, man, they got it all going. They're playing with joy. The sweet Georgia Brown music is playing. Love what they're doing.
Jalen has a prop of some sort here. What?
I agree with you guys. It's going to be a sweep today. Wallace, Denver Nuggets, and the MVP Jokic. However, I got to interject for a second. I appreciate what I'm seeing from the Warriors just like everyone else, and I'm not blinded. But we can't crown them the best team in the West just yet. I'm still going with the Phoenix Suns because the Pelicans are better than the Nuggets. And y'all seen Ayton in the first half and CP3 in the second half. Devin Booker going to ease right in. And also, let me just mention Memphis. They're playing against the Timberwolves, and that's a dogfight type series. But I feel like those 2 squads haven't conceded to the Warriors just yet because the Warriors haven't had a tough opponent that's going to physically test them.
Or Game 4 is reasonable to think that might be in play?
No, I think it's reasonable to think that. You know, if I could play right now, I'll be on the court, you know.
What's the hardest part of coming back after such a long layoff? What's the easiest part, whether it's a shot, the defense? What do you anticipate here?
Hardest? I mean, you got to go in the playoffs and play against the best players in the world in the playoffs. So it's nothing's easy in terms of that. But I feel comfortable stepping back on the floor and doing that. And doing what I can to help this team, you know, progress and win.
The Nets will certainly take whatever help that they can get after going down 2-0. They could use a better showing from Katie and Kyrie if they hope to win Sunday's Game 3. The tandem shot a combined 27% from the field in Game 2. That is their lowest combined field goal percentage in a game as teammates. Here's Greeny and the Countdown crew to preview.
All right, Elle, thank you very much. Really busy night, busy weekend we have coming up with Stephen A., Jalen Rose. Michael Wilbon will join us in a moment. And you mentioned the Nets. They could use any help they could get, and maybe some of it will come in the form of Ben Simmons. Let me bring Woj back into the conversation. Woj, you had the big story about Joel Embiid earlier. What is the realistic expectation as far as Simmons' potential for playing the rest of this series?
Greeny, Ben Simmons plans to play Game 4 on Monday, make his Nets debut, make his season debut in the NBA, and I'm told that's regardless of whether the Nets are within 2-1 in this series and they win Saturday, or whether they're down 3-0. And I think the expectation is for the Nets, can they get 10, 15 plus minutes out of Ben Simmons, get him on the court, and get him starting to contribute to this team? And obviously this is barring any kind of a physical setback in the next couple days, but he's been pain-free for well over a week. He's been scrimmaging 5-on-5. And so finally, and perhaps with the Nets season on the brink, Ben Simmons plans to play Monday in Game 4 against the Celtics.
All right, excellent. Whoa, super busy day with you. We'll see you in Countdown in about 15 minutes. Meanwhile, as promised, Michael Wilbon joins the conversation here. But Jalen, I want to start with you as the former player in this. What is realistic for a guy who has not played in a game since last June to step in? Someone described it as like jumping on a moving treadmill. Everyone else is going fast and you're trying to catch up. What is realistic from him?
Ben Simmons won't be a major factor in this series at all, Greeny. Season debut, Nets debut. He also has challenges in his game. Now think about it. This year with Philadelphia, he was missing some games due to some mental health issues. With the Nets, he was missing some games due to some back issues. He already has some limitations in his game, not attempting shots outside of the paint, not being a great free throw shooter. To interject himself into this series where every dribble really matters, I just don't think that he's going to have the capacity to play a lot of minutes, to play quality minutes, and to be a factor.
Stephen A., what do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to give a round of applause. I want to give a round of applause because we might have missed something. We actually heard a quote from Ben Simmons talking about how he wanted to be there for his teammates. I mean, that's breaking news. I don't know if y'all know that. That's breaking news. Let's get that out the way right now. He wants to be there for his teammates because clearly over the last year or so, that has not been the case, which the Philadelphia 76ers could easily attest to. And if the Nets wanted to be cynics, certainly they could attest to that. Secondly, and more importantly, whoever gave that video of Ben Simmons, you should be ashamed of yourself. Why are you showing him shooting the basketball? We all know he's not going to shoot. I mean, we all know he's not going to shoot. So why even show him shooting the basketball in practice? What difference does that make, okay? Thirdly, and more importantly, I would say this. Is he going to be a factor? No, I sincerely doubt it because he's been going, even though I think that if you could give them 20 to 25 minutes on the defensive end of the floor, Ben Simmons could be a factor in that regard. But I would remind y'all, it is Friday. They said he's eligible. He's going to be able to play Monday. That's what he's targeting game 4. That is 3 days. Call me then, because that's 3 days for him to come up with another excuse not to play. I'll believe it when I see it, Wilbon.
Go ahead, Michael.
Stephen A., I'm with you. I just think it's irrelevant. I mean, I get that this is a big story. Just having Ben Simmons out there, we haven't seen him in a year's time, and all the drama that went on the entire season surrounding his every move or non-move. But it's irrelevant. He can't get out. You don't walk in off the street, and Jalen knows this better than any of the rest of us ever will. You don't walk in off the street at the time the pressure is the highest, the stakes are the highest. Physically, it's the most demanding, and walk into a playoff game and contribute positively. This is insane. I'm not even sure why the people around him are allowing this to happen. I'm not even sure why the Nets are allowing it to happen. So you tell me they're going to get more out of Ben Simmons walking in off the street than a player who's been on the roster who may be able to help guard somebody? This is craziness.
We'll see. So much injury news out there. There's also Robert Williams news from that series. We'll have it coming up on Countdown. That's about 13 minutes away here on ESPN. Meanwhile, Ellen, Kevin, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Greeny.